Okay, so let's talk about the difference between words of knowledge and prophecy. What is the difference between prophecy and words of knowledge? Okay, the prophetic. Now, this is a crash course. This isn't like high level stuff. These are basics. We don't have time to get into high level stuff, and my level only goes so high with this stuff. But I want to at least get you on the right track. So prophetic words are calling things that are not as though they are. That's the forthtelling. We see that in Romans 4:17. It doesn't use the word prophecy, but this is essentially the concept. It says, as it is written, this is Paul speaking of God talking to Abraham, okay? As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations, speaking of Abraham. He is our father in the sight of God, in whom he believed, the God who gives life to the dead and calls things that are not as though they were. So again, you see that there's a future edge to that, but it's not just predicting, it's calling it out, making it that way. Dead live, right? And in that word releases life so that the living can happen. You know, thing that isn't, be as it is. And that word releases that change so that that can come about. That's the forthtelling. And you see it all through the Bible. So the prophetic is God revealing his will and then someone calling it into being. This could be either, like I said earlier, pointing out and calling into being what God has put in someone's heart. And you're calling that out. Or you're pointing out and calling into being something that God wants to do. But it's like God giving you insight into that mystery realm, that unknown realm, whether it's in someone's life or in the scope of what God wants to do, and he's giving you that word, and then you call it forth, and it puts that word into motion. It's like when, Elisha prophesies to the dry bones, right? Wait, is that Elisha or Elijah? Elijah, we think. I forget. I preached on that, but I can't remember. I was getting mixed up. Those guys are some of my favorites. But, prophesy to the dry bones, right? Prophesy the breath of life into them, and the skin comes back on, and they're rebuilt into this army and this vision that the prophet's having. So that's prophecy. Now, the word of knowledge is, again, knowing factual information about the person. It's having knowledge. The word of knowledge reveals that God is working with you for the sake of the person he sent you to minister to. Again, it's kind of authenticating that God is with you. How did you know that, right? So, a quick comparison is like, prophetic word makes you want to say, wow, how will this be? Right? Wow, you're going to call the dead to life. Wow, how will this be? Like, you're wondering how God's going to do this thing. Not doubting how God's going to do it. You're just wondering, how you can do that, God? In that space before it's fulfilled. And a word of knowledge makes you want to say, wow, how did you know that? Right? How will this be? Or how did you know? And they both kind of make you say, wow, when they're accurate.